will put it up, throws over the middle. Cool, touchdown. Quick flag. 3rd down and 5. Levis swings it to Scatterbo. Scatterbo breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Another Scatterbo is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Revenge on this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon comes in. Welcome to 2025. Today. This one the other way. Still going back. Not the drag. Locks up and down. Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for Darby. Flag out. Doesn't matter. Touchdown.
What is up, Pitchfork Lunchers? Welcome into Season 3's finale, this Monday edition of Pitchfork Lunch. One last one to get done. And yes, Friday we had Brian Ward on, Sun Devil defensive coordinator. And man, granted, we talked about a lot and then didn't mention, I know not to ask and mention any names, talked about recruiting in general and just the electricity and the coaching staff and what people can see. Well, Pitchfork Lunchers, it was a good morning in recruiting as a 27 who had decommitted from San Diego State has now committed to ASU. So that in and of itself, pretty awesome, my friends. Pretty awesome, yes. But we'll get to that. But I am Michael Caracino at Diablo005_ on X, ours formerly known as the Twitter. You guys know it. You love it. You can check out the show live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, although this is season finale. But also, I may have not told you this all season long, but did you guys know that you can also go to the wonderful world of IG. I know. I don't know if I've ever told you that, Pitchfork Lunchers. You can go there and you can check it out at michael.caratinudo.5. Yes, check it out. You can watch live there, like I said. And also, last but not least, guys, the YouTube channel. Because if you are just joining us for the first time ever on Pitchfork Lunch, the season 3 finale, forks up, glad you're here. And my veteran Pitchfork Lunchers know what I'm going to say, but shame on you. Where have you been? Because you have missed a plethora of phenomenal conv reviews, i.e. the conv review we had with defensive coordinator Brian Ward on Friday, getting him in here, and then a defensive commit happens again. It's the Pitchfork Lunch mojo and dust all sprinkled. Absolutely awesome. So yes, very, very stoked for that. We have Brian Ward on, but like I said, and we've had Coach Dillingham, we've had assistant coaches, we have head coaches from a ton of sports. I sit down with former, a Sun Devil alum, another Sun Devil alum coach, but a broadcasting communications grad as well in Coach Powers in hockey, who's having a heck of a off season, is having a solid recruiting season as well. But you can go to YouTube and you can subscribe. I want you to watch live, but this is the last live show of the year. And if you're watching again, Forks Up, you got more to look forward to in season 4. But you can go to YouTube and you can watch live and subscribe. And all you got to do is go to, you guys know how to get to YouTube, but you see my name, Michael Caratanudo. You can search that. It's my page is at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC 005 on YouTube, and subscribe. Like I said, because when I say you've missed a plethora of phenomenalness and phenomenal conference views, I'm talking whether it's coaches, players, voices, analysts, insiders, alum from many different generation, all here that we have had on throughout the this season and seasons 1 through 3. So again, go to YouTube and subscribe. Again, it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC 005 on YouTube. Search it in uppercase. If not, search my name, Michael Caratanudo, and look, you'll see that right there. Pitchfork Lunch. Bam. That's right. All Sun Devils all the time. As like I said, Nassim Eason, his dad, played. That's the breaking news, my friends. His dad was a Thorpe Award finalist, Nigel Eason, who he was a Thorpe Award finalist, pardon me, in 2000. I wanted to get that right in the notes. Again, like Coach Powers, said, we're seasoned, we're knowledgeable. But I did see Nigel play at ASU, and again, absolutely awesome. His son again was headed to San Diego State. But it was a verbal, and we've talked about this. He decommitted. Yes, he decommitted and was at the ASU passing camp. And, he sees the coaches. He sees that obviously all the coaches being out there, but just the camaraderie and everything that they have, my Pitchfork Lunchers. And he commits to ASU and is put staying home. And again, absolutely awesome. I had to visit. He was visiting this last weekend. Was Nas Eason? He was visiting, and he just says staying home. I love his tweet, his X post, whatever you want to say. We're stoked. Pitchfork Lunchers, doesn't matter. But he just put committed, hashtag committed, activate the Valley, hashtag DB pedigree, again, his dad, and then tagged that Coach Dillingham, Coach Meat, Coach Ward, and he is a Higley. We talked about that. So, but that is the one from this morning. And then check this out. This is a crazy one too, guys. Jeremiah Johnson, who his high school graduation trip. So he graduated. He was so he was headed to Navy, graduates high school, right? Is headed to Mexico. So he was in Mexico, right? So he already bought a plane ticket to move to Maryland this summer, where he'd planned to play for Navy. He was in Puerto Vallarta with his girlfriend and her family, preparing to go to Guadalajara, right? Instead, he returned home to SoCal and was in Tempe the next morning. And Jeremiah Johnson, with, again, whatever opened up, he will be here, obviously, this summer working out and in fall camp, and part of the Um, um, Yeah, I mean, one of his quotes said this. Johnson said this all worked out in a perfect way. This opportunity fell into my lap, and that's where my journey was supposed to be. A surprising turn of events. Again, lands 2026 SoCal wide receiver here in Tempe following a last-minute official visit. Yeah, just a little bit of background. I mean, he went to high school in Rancho Mirage, California. Again, like I said, he was surprised at a trip with Mexico with his girlfriend and her family. He heard from the Sun Devils, had interest in him. It was a team that was in contact during his junior year, but didn't hear from them since. And he said the 6'2", 197-pound Johnson, who was committed to Navy and planning to enroll in Annapolis in a few weeks, knew that he could not pass on this opportunity that took place last Wednesday. And 48 hours later, he was back in Tempe for his second visit there, squeezing in a trip before the recruiting dead period begins. And this time it was on that. This time it was one that concluded with a commitment. It's a crazy story, Johnson admitted. In my junior year, I went to a camp out there at ASU. I made some big plays, did what I did, and they showed some interest, but I didn't hear from them since. And I thought that was the end of my line with them. They didn't sign a class of 26 receiver, and now they were really short on receivers. So I went there on a visit, and everything worked out. And yeah, Hode Rubino of Devil's Digest. Shout out to Hode on that one. But yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. You know, you think, it's over. So yeah, he's stoked. He gets to work with Hines Ward, be developed at a high level. So yeah, but yeah, Jeremiah Johnson flipped there too. So that in and of itself is crazy. And then you land a 27 corner who will be battling Johnson in practice. Johnson will be going up against him. And yes, it is iron sharpening iron, especially an individual 7-on-7. I mean, even team. We know some of the battles that the DBs and receivers have had. So I mean, yeah, it's so yeah, I mean, that's again just too huge. And then for for Nas Eason, like I said, his dad, DB pedigree, but obviously a legacy, an ASU legacy, which is just huge. And look, talking to Brian Ward, and again, the development, talking about Keith Abney getting drafted in the 5th round. And yes, I know I will go down that rabbit hole for you Pitchfork Lunchers one last time. The short rabbit hole should have been drafted way before that. nonetheless, though, he's going to take advantage of his opportunity, like Coach Ward was saying. And again, man, I'm going to try and record something with Keith this summer, before they head into camp. Again, see if we can get him on. Again, always a friend of the program, and just again all around awesome dude. But like Coach said, good guy. But I mean, the development just in general, and Johnson talking about. Hines Ward and Johnson talking about Hines Ward, but I mean it's crazy because you think of people say Jordan Tyson and the receivers that came in and talking about Omarion Miller and Reed Harris, who's again, I mean their catch radius is Omarion Miller, his speed, and obviously catch radius, so you can just but the route running, everything. And now you add a 26 receiver who, again, they hadn't signed. And, again, he was headed to Annapolis. They reached out. And, again, that's why I brought that up last week, talking to a friend of the show, Chris Cartman, the publisher of Sun Devil Source for 24/7 Sports, saying to him that it's crazy that, this is different. It's 26, so he had to get released from his signing there. Did Johnson, not obviously, not Eason. Johnson, not Eason. But yeah, I mean, Johnson had to get released from it, which again, in this day and age with transfer portal, teams will, release, and it's, hey, it cut short the graduation trip, but you know what? It's like you said, it's a phenomenal opportunity, and I mean, wow. And when you look at by the way, Pitchfork Munchers, when you look at I was going to say I want to say it was Johnson's, season stats. I mean, he had 7 D1 offers, and but yeah, I mean, looking at it that way, I mean, he did have 7 D1 offers. Again, headed to Annapolis, headed to Navy. Man, guys, that's crazy. Like, and ASU lands him. But the development part, like I'm saying, with development, Jordan Tyson, we saw what he did a receiver. I mean, even, the Big 12 championship run, and a young man, obviously friend of the program. Oh, he's so inspiring. Xavier Guillory, who's with the Ravens and got banged up last year, but ran into him at camp, or at spring ball, I should say. Fall camp hasn't started yet, guys, because we're not there. At spring ball, and he's, I mean, obviously recovered, mini camp, and the Ravens go headed back there. New head coach, obviously. But yeah, Xavier Guillory, and just you saw, I mean, like Hines Ward working with these receivers, and yes, the man that it was targeting, by the way, it was targeting. As as I always say, as we always say, it was targeting because Rutgers Ron knows it too. Melquan Stovall, but I mean, just the development of his, his route running, what it became, and you saw, a guy like Derek Eusebio, who, again, spring ball was dealing with some stuff, but I mean, he was out there, not in contact stuff, but nonetheless, absolutely rocked. So, Guys, this is huge. I mean, Jeremiah Johnson, 26 receiver, and then you also get Eason, huge, absolutely huge. So, and yeah. Oh, and I said, so some of you also, speaking of foosball, some of you also were talking about, I got some messages you didn't see Coach Ward, and since it's the end of season 3, yes, you can go back on YouTube, but enough we're here, and I see quite a few that are in here. So we'll take a break. I'll play Coach Ward again from, realize it was from Friday. Yes, but different background, but we'll play Coach Ward again from Friday. And then when we come back after that, though, then we'll just, we're definitely shouting out the rest of the sports, as in, I mean, start with, volleyball, JJ Van Niel, another back-to-back championship, the funness that we had covering here on Pitchfork Lunch, and then maybe volleyball, football, swim and dive, Coach Boehm, again, delivering just amazingness. Coach Winkworth, again, talking to him, women's soccer, who, again, played very, 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 very solid this season. And it's but it's I mean, what Coach Winkworth did, again, awesome. They're in the fall leading into, obviously men's and women, Molly Miller. I mean, women's hoops, obviously Coach Hurley is gone, Coach Bennett now here, but still, I mean, the teams battled, and Molly Miller going undefeated in non-conference play wins their first 15 games, my friends. Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. Wins her first 15 games doing that, and then heads to the tournament. And then, Coach Hurley, again, the team battled, and there were some games that, couldn't afford to lose. So, again, the tough decisions. Again, the busy man that is the athletic director, Graham Rossini, who's one of the tops in the country. And, yeah, I mean, you see these reports, but not a surprise. One of the tops in the country. He, brings in Coach Bennett, and it's just absolutely awesome. So, very stoked about that. What else? So, I mean, you got hoops, and then go into, obviously, men's and women's golf. Like I said, swim was already starting in the fall, goes through, into the spring, as you know, winter season and spring. But with Coach Boehm there, Coach Party in water polo, women's water polo, again, having her on, and shout out to the team and what they did this year. Phenomenal. So we'll get to that. Obviously, like I said, Coach, and then obviously Missy Farquet and Coach Thurman in men's and women's golf. Again, just a little bit of a roller coaster for the men, but the women, again, just absolutely crushing it, and had a hell of a season. And a lot of them, went right into playing for some cups. So absolutely awesome. Love what Missy Farquet, again, women's side, and Coach Thurman, again, both alum coaches. So yes, very stoked for that. And then obviously Coach Bartlett, softball, what they did, man, that run to the Austin Super Regional, winning the College Station Regional, beating Texas A&M twice. And then baseball, Coach Bloomquist, again, going to the Lincoln Regional. Both teams, again, back-to-back years in regionals for both. What, again, is the minimum of what is expected for the traditionalists of Sun Devil baseball. and softball. And Coach Bloomquist, will tell you that in his expectations. So again, Forks up, man, into baseball and softball and track. Obviously, what they did, cross country, obviously in the beginning of the season, but track. Just absolutely awesome. And then, how dare I not talk about triathlon? Because again, Coach English, the phenomenal job that triathlon has done, and again, national titles, runner-ups, and they're just crushing it. I love, and again, I know Pitchfork Lunchers, a lot of you said, yes, he is one of the coaches, one of the very few that I've not had on, but we are going to, next season 4, we're going to start off with Coach. We're going to, early in season 4, we're going to get Coach Jackson from women's tennis. Again, women's tennis hosted a regional again, fell a little short, but man, just again, absolutely phenomenal season. Again, Jamia Jackson keeping what Coach McInerney did going. She's keeping going what Coach McInerney had for 40 years, right? As you Pitchfork Lunchers know. So that to me, absolutely awesome. But Coach Jackson, Coach English will be on, and there's a few others we got to get to as well that have not been on Pitchfork Lunch at all. One man band or not, I got to get to that. So we're going to set those up early. And that's that. But we're going to take a quick break. Again, you can digest it. Shout out again to all those sports that are phenomenal. Beach volleyball too. Hello. Yeah, beach volleyball. Just great. Again, had a phenomenal season and played some tough teams and did well. So again, but we, yes. But I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, Coach Ward from Friday. Just going to go straight into that. So, yes, because if you were here, I got the messages. Forks up, man. Again, I love that you're being here. And at first I was like, well, maybe I look like a slacker, but not true because, again, some didn't see it. It'll be on YouTube. Others still aren't. You're still going to have to go to YouTube to watch it, which you can at Amazon Michael Views and Victory Season Champ 005. So, quick break, and we'll have Coach Ward on the other side. Look at this, Pitchfork Lunchers. We are back here, and man, I know I'm not getting recruited. Don't get excited. The eligibility's all gone. Plus, I'm too slow for this guy. But Coach, defensive coordinator Brian Ward joining us here. He's been a friend of the program here on Pitchfork Lunch, and we greatly appreciate that, Coach. Thanks for taking the time. And like I said, we'll get to it because we're coming to the end of season 3, and as you guys have known from the show, transfer portal, open in other sports, recruiting. They just started with 28s, camps, everything. And this man, again, I always say they could all, not that your clowns could be in the circus, because they could juggle not just 3, they could probably juggle 25 balls at once, like you guys have to do, and still stay focused and driven. But Coach, thanks for taking the time. And again, as my Pitchfork Lunchers have been trained, we're not talking about any certain recruits, but just, man, how's this recruiting season going?
Well, I think it's going really well. We've been on these guys for probably the last 2 years total, and most of the guys that we've been recruiting are guys that we know a lot about, and we've been able to go out and see live and see work out and perform. So things are coming together, and we like to slow cook our recruiting as opposed to make it really quick and more of a we're not speed dating here. This is more of a, hey, we're trying to put it in an oven. We're trying to let it marinate, and we're trying to make sure that, we get the guys that are a right fit for our culture and guys that want to be here at ASU.
Okay, that's great. See, look at that. Not only is he a great defensive coordinator, you got a future in broadcasting too, because that's a perfect segue. That's my next question, because I was going to say, you always see him recruiting, and maybe not in football, but in basketball, sometimes like a 7th or 8th grade kid was offered by a college. And I know it gets clicks and people are like, are you kidding me? Because we sit there and talk about it. But in football, like you said, getting to know these players, you start looking at them, 8th grade, freshman year, I'm guessing, just to see what they do. And you're saying slow cook it. But what's the challenge in that when you're starting to look at kids, like, again, 8th grade going into freshman year and just watching freshmen play freshman ball, getting that, everybody's still growing, but the speed, the talent, everybody's kind of at a different spot. What's, I guess, not to give away your secret, but just what's the challenge in that? And what's the secret in that?
Well, when guys are that young, getting early offered, that young and that far off from their college careers, those are usually the guys that everybody can see and everybody can evaluate. It's the guys that develop later, and the guys that we can see 2-3 years into their college careers and seeing if they have the right mindset, the right habits, what they're going to develop into. And that's ultimately what's going to determine how successful you're that we're going to be, and how successful our recruiting classes are going to be. And I know there's a lot of flash that comes with recruiting rankings and recruiting, where people see guys in terms of when they get signed. But, where we like to say, we feel like, we're different, is we're trying to find, again, guys that want to be here at ASU, that are going to fit with our culture, and that their habits are the best determining factor of how well they're going to develop and what they're going to become. So, it's hard to evaluate guys that maybe, are 14, 15 years old that don't, that haven't shaved, that don't have a hair on their face or a hair on their chest yet. And, but 90% of the classes that we sign, 95% are guys that develop as juniors and seniors. Right. And those are the guys that we think have the highest ceilings, not to take away the guys that are the no-brainers either, because those are guys that are going to get recruited by everybody in the country. Right. So, and usually everybody can see those guys. It's the guys that kind of fall between the margins that people maybe evaluate for being a certain fit in their program. And that's where we've had our success. And,
we've talked about that before. Obviously, I said, because you guys know here, don't always bring up the same things, but Coach Ward and I have that great bond covering coaching at the junior college, playing at it, coaching, but the diamonds in the rough, you're saying, maybe not so much that, but the late bloomers. Yeah. And to kind of piggyback off that, because I know obviously coming out of the pandemic with the extension of, scholarships, and that year didn't count. And a lot of people, and then the transfer portal has people saying, oh man, that's going to be tough on obviously freshmen. Like you said, you can see talent, but if you can also hit the portal and bring somebody in that's got that experience, how do you feel now that that wave is pretty much gone, and those scholarships, scholarship athletes from the pandemic are gone? How do you feel that now the recruiting of, these high school kids, not that the portal's not important, but it do you think it's kind of gotten back to where it was before the pandemic and the transfer portal?
Well, I think it's always evolving, and I don't know if I have a clear answer to that, because I think as you move regionally around the country and as you move up and down the different levels of college football, I think that, everybody'd have a different answer to that. Like, sure. I think for most programs, it's come back to a semblance of a little bit more consistency. Back when the COVID came, guys got COVID years, they got extra years of eligibility, they got guys that were fifth years got a sixth year, and and that affected, I think, the high school classes in 20 and 21 and 22 more than any other classes, and maybe a little bit into 23. But I think it's basically on a program by program basis. I mean, we're always looking for good players, and it's always going to be like almost by position. Hey, where are our needs?
Right.
Where do we find the guys that we feel like can come in and help us right away in terms of the portal? And then where are guys that we can evaluate and see that these guys are going to be a good fit for our program a year or 2 and 3 years down the road. So it's ever evolving, and it's really on a week by week, month by month basis right now. So I think there was some madness that came from COVID in all areas of our lives. But if you get into the college football space, then you feel like it maybe feels a little bit more normal. But at the same time, I mean, it is ever evolving, and each program's and we're no different. We're going to evolve it. We're going to evaluate that on a case by case basis.
Well, and speaking of development, obviously NFL draft, I haven't really got to talk to you, and I said to Coach Saga that they were all first rounders in my eyes, Homer show or not. I know I got a little bit of flack for that one, but man, okay. So Keith goes in the 5th round to Detroit. And I remember just kidding around with Keith, saying, I'd love for you to end up, in Dallas. And everybody was saying their favorite teams. He's like, yeah, my mom might like that too, being closer to home. But the 5th round, he goes to Detroit. And I mean, such just an awesome fit for him and the way he developed. And then a few picks later, his former teammate and guys making plays together, Keyshawn goes to the Bears. But just like Keith going there and what you've seen, I mean, like I said, the 5th round, obviously it's an honor to get drafted. I get, there's so many picks per round, but I think there's a few DBs that went before and teams are going to be like, yeah, we made a mistake. But just what was it like for you to see Keith and Keyshawn just go back to back like that?
Yeah, it was great seeing those guys get drafted. And both those guys deserve everything that they get, and they're going to be successful in whatever they do, just because of how they approach things, their habits every single day. And I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Like, I haven't been around great players that weren't great people, and I just haven't. Every great player that I've ever coached they're a great person, and usually whatever they put their mind to, they were going to be successful in. And I've been around some very talented players who maybe their habits didn't match their talent, and those guys don't ever go very far. And it's a life lesson. So those guys are going to be successful in whatever they do. Both those guys are basically uncuttable players because of their habits. And the NFL is not I don't think completely what people think it is. The NFL is, they're looking for 90% of every roster is who's going to come fit in and be a part of the unit. It's not necessarily who's the best performers,
right?
Okay, which is very important. Those guys have the ability. It's who are the people that are going to add value to the organization. And it's no different than in the business world or anything else. It's what do you value more, performance or culture? And those guys are culture builders, and most successful organizations value culture. And that's why we've been able to have success on defense the last 2 years, playing with those guys like that. And those guys, nobody's been more impactful on defense or a program than those two guys.
Yeah, and I messaged Coach Cooper. I said, wow, I know that like the tradition of the Bears, but could there be any more of a fitting spot for Keyshawn? And then Coach Tuitelli said, the biggest compliment, a coach can give a player of another position is that, because he goes, if Keith would have been, 115 pounds heavier, he'd come play center for him. Yeah. That's what Coach Tuitelli said. He goes, he plays center for me. And I just again, and everything they put into it. And then, and obviously defensive side of it, you saw what he did. And he's getting a shot, obviously, with Pittsburgh. I mean, it was great to see Max go in the 1st round along with Jordan. But Shimon Mateer, I mean, I think back, and I know it's more than one game that gets you recruited, but his time here, the way, I mean, yes, he can catch the ball, red zone, great, but the blocking and the Mississippi State game last year, it was one of those things where the analysts just could not, in the second half, end of the first half, second half, every running play, it was not but look at what Shimon, and he goes undrafted. And I said to coach, I just said to you, I get it, but that makes no sense to me. And of course, the Steelers get to your point. They're like just another worker, another diamond right there.
Yeah, and that's just part of it. Like, I think sometimes we can get caught in the bubble. It's no different than than a parent watching their son play, and we go, man, what a great player, what a great, but there's so many, like you said, there's so many other players out there, and it's such a fine line, right? What people see as opposed to what people know. And, it really is. It's a fine line, but it's a very clear line. Like, some people are going to see something, not see what the person that works with that person every day sees. So, the NFL, it's a really selective league, and those guys' jobs are on the line, just like our jobs are on the line. So, but like I said before, like, habits are always going to be the best determiner or predetermining factor for future success. And Shimon, he keeps working. He's going to find his way to a home in the NFL or in professional football somewhere.
Yeah, no, like you said, people said that to me. They're like, you sound like you're the parent of, 500 kids when you're talking about any sport that get drafted. I go, look, everybody sees it, but when you hear others keep saying, like, oh, look at this. So you guys do a good job. So, okay, spring ball. I mean, obviously a lot of new guys, guys come in, guys that we've talked about before, graduate high school early and just kind of get the, their pause into college and stuff like that. But from a defensive standpoint, there were some guys that kind of said, even a guy that came in early. I mean, I was talking to Coach Reynolds and Julian Hugo. I mean, this young man, but all throughout all levels, what did you just think of spring ball, and how's the defense shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have, it's a unit that has a lot of college football snaps in it, but just not college snaps of those guys playing together or in this, in this terminology or this defensive system. So, there's some guys that have high football IQ and have the ability to tie one thing together at a high level. There's other guys that have a lot of ability, but maybe their fundamentals need to be cleaned up in order for them to be successful in what we do on defense. And, our job as coaches is to give these guys as much information and be as consistent in our process and teaching them so they can continue to move forward and feel like they're getting better every single day.
And then, speaking of growing and stuff like that, and I talked about it during the spring, and talked about it on the show, how, normally like you were working with the safeties, but now you're just getting to kind of roam in individual groups. And like you said, I mean, coach is always, evolving and doing this. How much has that helped you evolve? But just in going around, checking out the D-line a little bit in practice, going over, with Coach Coop and the linebackers, and obviously, yes, still with the, the safeties and the corners, but how is that just how do you feel it's helped you grow as a coach, and maybe even more so help these guys grow in your system?
Well, I'm still evolving in that, so I'm still getting comfortable in that role. I mean, I still try to give input at every position. I try to help those position coaches coach what we're doing on defense. I feel like this group of coaches is as, if not more so, aligned than at any time we've been here in terms of what's important to how what makes us successful on defense. So, I'm just using this role just to kind of dive in to learn the process more. And as we get into fall camp, the spring was really a learning process for me. I know that I'm going to be able to impact those positions maybe from a bird's eye view rather than more specifics in terms of, how are we using our individual periods? Are we, is it, are we focusing on our install, or are we coaching what we want to coach? And I think those are the type of things that I'm going to be able to have more of a handle on, so we can actually grow and develop faster defensively.
And then when you talk about, when you look at that, the one thing that coaches always talk about, the continuity, and obviously having you coaches come back. I mean, defensively, everybody, still being together, being on the same page. And yeah, I mean, you're going to add coaches. Obviously, Coach Carrington gets promoted and the job he's done, but just that continuity, going into, especially to this round of recruiting, like you said, with install recruiting, everything, how much do you feel that's just kind of catapulted this program more so to be even more so on the map?
Ask it in a different way. I'm not
Well,
quite understanding
the continuity of the coaching staff, like
Yeah.
the guys always coming back, and like just in recruiting. I mean, obviously coaches want to get to a higher level. I mean, everybody, to be a head coach, but for you guys that have been together this time, and maybe one or two coaches come in, but the continuity, how has that helped in recruiting? How has that just helped in installs? You said coaching, because a lot of times it's like, oh, you can just get right to a point because you guys are almost thinking on that same level.
So, okay, so that's a great question, especially in terms of, how you look at our staff and you look at just, we live in a coaching profession that's full of very ambitious, people. But it's funny, as you get older and more experienced, you start realizing what's going to make you happy, and that, A, the grass isn't always greener. B, when you find a good place and one that you can build, and one where you have the support, not only from the community, the administration, but also you have a comfort level as a position coach or an assistant coach or coordinator, that you're working for a head guy that is helping you grow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like John Maxwell's leadership pyramid. I read that book probably 27 years ago. It was early 2000s, and it was his first major one that came out. He talked about the leadership pyramid and how no one is ever going to be happy if they feel like they're working under someone where their leadership surpasses that person. So people cannot be comfortable if they're working for a level 5 leader, number one, level 10 being the highest level leader, and they feel like they're a level 6 or 7, they're never ever going to feel satisfied or comfortable, or challenged. And I think, that is so true on so many levels here at Arizona State. We feel we're at a place that is giving the support. It's only growing. The support that we have now compared to year one is immeasurable. We're working for a head coach that empowers us, but he also leads us, and he also gives direction. And he's a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is we always talk about, like, it's a collaborative deal. And on defense it is. I mean, there's no input that our head coach gives that isn't productive, that doesn't help me grow as a coordinator. So, and I think probably every coach in this building would probably say that, so, and that's ultimately you get to my age, you want to listen more than you want to. I would rather listen more than people hear me speak, you know what I'm saying? Because, this is a bottom line business, you know what I'm saying? And for especially for the people that determine, our success and what's successful here at Arizona State. So I'm just trying to, again, find a way to be the best I can, I can be, along with our defensive side of the football, so we can be the best we can be. And, I think having that continuity, and that's one of the things, like Coach Dillingham made a comment about how many older guys on the staff he has. Well, I think part of that is the maturity to recognize some of those positive things. And I think when you're younger, it's always about position, it's about title, it's about moving. It's about how quickly can I ascend. When you get to, coach, my age, Coach Coop is in, Coach Cooch, he's a little bit younger than me, you know what I mean? But he's a guy that we challenge each other every single day, and we grow as coaches. Coach Reynolds the same way, you know what I'm saying? And Coach Reynolds and I are around the same age, and you got Coach Meat, we're around the same age. Like, you just ultimately know, like, hey, and we want to compete at the highest level here, and we feel like we can.
And to piggyback off that too, like in recruiting, people always see that. People under, like, it's not just like you said, a fake head, like a coach, whether they're trying to move up or not, but as a staff, they get around everybody, and you use the word family. And to further piggyback off that, I mean, obviously Fridays always have Tillman stuff, love going out Tillman run, but obviously I know we've talked about the statue, but the last few years, having the team be out at the kids run and just be out at Pat's run, seeing people come in, what it means to him. I mean, I talked to a guy this year that had, I think it was knee and hip knee replacement, double knee replacement, and he was just about 9 weeks out of it, and he came here to do the run.
Yeah.
Because I was talking unbelievable, but like the Pat Tillman Leadership Council, we talk about being the best you can be, to have something like that, just as a I don't even want to say a thumbprint, as Pat Tillman, a handprint on the program. What's this had like for you as coaches when you see the players giving back to the young kids? I mean, obviously at the kids camp, but just Pat Tillman, the foundation, everything he means. to this university and what the foundation means, but just to be a part of that, what's it just like for you? I mean, you're a parent, but when you see the players doing it and like the young kids, just how excited they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I went through, that I've gone through as a parent, seeing my own son go through it. And my daughters are young enough not to really know that they weren't going to end up playing football, but they were a part of it early on. But having Pat Tillman's name attached to it is, I guess maybe a little bit more familiar to me, just because I have friends and close friends that I played junior college ball here with, high school ball or against high school ball here in Arizona. And I got a chance to meet Pat as he was a player once through one of my through one of the players that used to play here. And there's a lot of guys that I associate and rub shoulders with still to this day that either played with Pat or knew him, personally on a deeper level. And, getting to meet his family as well, and getting to know his brother, Kevin, just because he comes around and he's a great dude. And, it just makes it a little bit more personal, and attaching his name to it just gives it a little bit deeper meaning, to everything that we're doing here. And, seeing those kids and seeing the impact that football has on young people. And then that to me has always been the beauty of the sport, is the locker room and the ability to bring people from every different background, really in American society and in American culture, all together, working together to do one thing. It's always been, no matter where I've been in the United States, no matter going, playing my first year of football in 7th grade in South Minneapolis, to moving out here in 8th grade and playing here and coaching all over the country. It really is a unifying sport, and it's a sport for all ages to be able to follow and not to participate in, but it's not a sport for all ages, right? But it's one that it's just such a great unifying force that I think football is. Yeah, because I know when they put the statue up, it's to keep his memory going, and people say, people will remember. But it is great because I forgot who said it at the press conference, like, a little kid's going to see it, look up to his parent and say, hey, who is this? And that's the whole point of it, the conversation, like what it means, like you said, to play football, what it can teach you, but just the deepness to serve. So what is the family? I know you said you got a little bit of break. We're going to get him out of here on this because Coach Ward's very generous, but so a little bit of break time, a little catch your breath after this. Any things with the family? Daughter's not going back to Italy without you, is she? No, she's not. Yeah, she's not doing that. But, that was such a great trip, though. I talked to her. It's awesome. She did that with the Newman Center here, ASU's campus, and it was a trip of a lifetime for her. And, it was basically a pilgrimage because we're Catholic, and going back to kind of, I guess, our home base, which is Rome and Vatican. So, I'd love to get there one day too, but, that's not in the plans right now. But that'll be a trip of a lifetime for me and my wife whenever we're able to do that. But yeah, just relaxing, spending time, with Amy and with my wife. And, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed here, just because of the situation with my daughter, working with the training staff. I see her most days, and she lives here in Tempe, and then my son who's on staff here. So, I'm a little spoiled when it comes to that. I'm a lot spoiled, and I appreciate every day being able to do that. Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you know that because again, we go back to junior college, and he was a Bear, but like Coach Kersey and Coach Crew said, he's a Gaucho. No, he goes down as a Gaucho. Yeah, that's right. But that's awesome. Right. So we're gonna step aside. I give you guys a second to digest that here on Tillman Fridays on Pitchfork Lunch, but we'll step aside and have more coming up.
There you go. All that was Coach Ward from Friday, as you well know. And again, great conversation with him. Again, talking recruiting and everything, and the program, the continuity with the coaches, guys. It's absolutely awesome. And again, from a defensive standpoint, Naseem Eason, son of Nigel Eason, who was a Thorpe Award finalist in 2000. I think he had he had 5 picks that year. But he had verbal to San Diego State. And as we all talk about, again, he verbaled, but was out at the ASU passing camp, and coaches see him and working with him. And obviously, they had been on him. He has had many offers, but yeah, took an official, decommitted, from SDSU, took an official and committed. And then you get the receiver, also Jeremiah Johnson, who, yeah, that doesn't suck either. Not gonna lie. But yeah, that is going to do it for season 3, my friends. It has been an awesome season from the very first guest, Doug Tamro. Yes, the associate athletic director, phenomenal sports information director, award-winning. He kicked off the guest list, and again, all the coaches, the athletes, alum, insiders. Man, it's just absolutely awesome. And again, like I said, gymnastics, tennis, women's tennis, triathlon, and I want to say that's it for coaches. But again, we'll hit those early in season 4 as well. There's much stuff, but like, again, Coach Van Neal, volleyball, they'll be going for 3 in a row, 3 Big 12 championships in a row. So they've taken the first 2 years in the Big 12, and forks up. Devils are champs, as we know. Coach Dillingham, though, in football, they're only picked to over-unders 6.5, so they think they can win 7 games. Oh, yeah, I mean, I know I tell you I can't stand these preseason rankings, and I just laugh at things. No, I don't. I'm not picking – I never pick all my favorite teams to go undefeated, but it's laughable. And then Coach Dillingham is voted as the ranking the coaches in the Big 12. He's at number 2, but the team that has that kind of coach but can only win maybe 7 games. I know. Math matches up there, right? Pitchfork lunchers, so yeah, but again, man, all the guests, all the players that came on, all the alum, coaches, SIDs that crazily helped with everything, coordinating and again, just helping me out. Again, Pitchfork lunchers, that's what brings it to you too. So when I talk about the plethora of phenomenal con reviews and phenomenalness you've missed, again, couldn't do without the SIDs and all their help. So, but for one last time, thanks to reigning back-to-back Big 12 champs, women's volleyball, going for 3 in a row next year. It is hashtag our state, team down south. Just remember that. It is hashtag our state. It always will be. So, yes, it is our state. And you just have to live with that team down south because, again, yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful. It's always the Territory Cup rivalry is always awesome, but yeah, and it'll keep going next year. But it is hashtag our state, thanks to back-to-back Big 12 champs women's volleyball who swept you the last few years. Just want to say, team down south, and yeah, have a phenomenal rest of this downtime. Again, at Diablo005_ on X, arsenally known as a Twitter. I'll obviously be posting stuff, putting stuff up. You'll see stuff. And my IG at michael.care30.5. So yes, a dot between the first and last name, then a .5. Again, check that there out. And then subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005, all caps. Or just search my name and make sure that you have that symbol when you subscribe. Again, forks up to all the subscribers, newer subscribers, all the subscribers. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you start of season 4 as we will have, again, soft start with Camp T. Going to work on organizing, getting a few things done up there. Not biting off more industry, but a few things. Sit down with CJ Fight. Talks about that. Going to have another surprise sit down. And then with Coach Coop, got to hang with Coach Coop and with Coach Coop at Camp T, but we're going to hang with Coach Coop and Coach Ward this time. So, yes, it'll be absolutely awesome. Nonetheless, guys, have a phenomenal rest of the summer. If you're here in Arizona, again, hit me up. I'd love to chat. Or if you're anywhere, but I'm saying Arizona, to finish that thought, enjoy the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful scorching heat. And yeah, we'll go from there. You guys have a phenomenal rest of your Monday. I will see you for the start of season 4. You guys know it. Go Devils. And as always, my pitchfork lunchers, as I leave you for season 3, you guys know it. As always, forks out.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Blake Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Pull, touchdown. Quick flag.
3rd down and 5. Levis swings it to Scadaboo. Scadaboo breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Scadaboo is the running back, and he is immediately met. The backfield runs through the contact and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Chuck this deep this year. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025.
Today. This one the other way. It is still going fast. That's the track. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it.
Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.